We've been covering the Amazon strike a lot here. We've been covering it the past couple days. We covered it. So it is now over. It was for Monday and Tuesday, where Amazon workers in 4 different countries went on strike to protest working conditions. Amazon's response to the workers striking was to mock them. They mocked them, saying they didn't have a ton of participation, probably because a lot of people were scared to participate because they were worried about losing their job. But here is a summary from Democracy Now! So we're going to go to this article. Amazon workers demand fair pay and conditions as company continues undercutting rivals. While online shoppers around the world flocked to Amazon's mega sale of Prime Day this week, which was, again, that was yesterday and Monday, the retail giant faced growing outrage from protesters, workers, and lawmakers for its unsafe working conditions in collaboration with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, i.e. ICE. Demonstrators in Seattle delivered a petition with over 270,000 signatures to Amazon headquarters, demanding it stop exploiting workers and cooperating with ICE. Lawmakers, including Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Ilhan Omar, co-signed a letter to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration demanding a full investigation into Amazon's workplace conditions on Tuesday, citing reports of Amazon workers facing severe physical and mental distress while on the job. Also on Tuesday, the House Judiciary Committee's antitrust panel challenged an Amazon executive on allegations that the company competes against its own sellers. So here they had an interview here. Let's check it out.
This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
While online shoppers around the country flocked to Amazon's mega sale Prime Day this week, the retail giant faced growing outrage from protesters, workers, and lawmakers for its unsafe working conditions, collaboration with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and anti-competitive and anti-union business practices.
He reads it way better than I do.
Workers at an Amazon warehouse, many of whom are immigrants.
All right, so we're going to get to the
African
interview
nations,
here.
Walked out for a 6-hour strike and demanded the company implement better working conditions and corporate responsibility policies. In New York City,
I drink water from a
activists
mason
delivered
jar.
the petition to the home of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Demonstrators in Seattle delivered a petition with over 270,000 signatures to Amazon headquarters, calling out its exploitation of workers and demanding.
So it's really interesting that despite the fact that all these petitions were delivered, again, 270,000 signatures in more, in different places, Amazon's response was still like, only like 15 people were protesting, and here's some people having fun. Remember when we talked about it yesterday? Amazon's response was that only a few people were protesting. They made fun of the people, basically. They mocked them. They marginalized them. Meanwhile, people are delivering things to Jeff Bezos' house with over 270,000 signatures. Amazon is not only mocking and marginalizing their own employees, they're lying to themselves, to their employees, and to the public. Sounds like a great company that should dominate online commerce. They're lying. Oh, only 15 workers gave a shit. No, workers all around the world care. Workers all around the world know they're being mistreated and are demanding better. But Amazon's pretty much monopolizing our country. So they're getting away with it right now. All right, let's get to the interview here.
It stopped working with ICE. Amazon has contracted with U.S. government agencies, including ICE, to develop facial recognition software, which is being pitched as a tool for targeting immigrants. This is activist Maru Mora Villalpondo.
We're doing this because it's Prime Day, and we hope that people choose who to give their money to. Do they want to give it to Amazon that is making so much money out of the misery of our communities? I hope not.
So, side note, I can't help but wonder why was her T-shirt blurred out? Here, let's go back a little bit. See, why is her T-shirt blurred out?
And we hope that people.
Like, what do you think her T-shirt says? I know it's not all that important, but I can't help but be curious. What do you guys say? I think it's a Crass T-shirt. That's what I think. It's a Crass T-shirt. She's like, I don't know. No, I don't know. It's probably maybe it's just like they can't have any logos. I'm sure it's not very consequential. I'm just curious. I'm curious about those kind of things. And you know me, I'm a big music fan, so my mind first goes to, oh, it's a band T-shirt. That's where my mind goes first. It probably isn't. Maybe it is. I don't know. But anyway, it probably isn't. All right, let's get back to the video.
Choose who to give their money to. Do they want to give it to Amazon that is making so much money out of the misery of our communities? I hope not.
In Europe, workers in Germany, Britain, Spain, and Poland are also taking part in protests this week, calling for fair wages and working conditions.
While the strike against Amazon unfolded, lawmakers, including Senator Bernie Sanders and Congressmember Ilhan Omar, co-signed a letter to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, demanding a full investigation into Amazon's workplace conditions Tuesday. The letter cited reports of Amazon workers facing severe physical and mental distress while on the job, often unable to take water or bathroom breaks while working in unsafe conditions. It quoted one worker who called Amazon a 21st century sweatshop and multiple others who reported contemplating suicide due to the work.
Okay, so here's what's interesting here. Despite all of this, despite the fact that there has been a letter from elected officials, Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, despite the fact that there has been signatures, over 270,000 signatures delivered to Jeff Bezos, despite the fact that there have been actions in various parts in the United States, Minnesota, Seattle, New York, despite the fact that there have been actions around the world, Spain, Germany, other places, Amazon's response was that this was just a couple people and that everybody's happy. And it's not true. Amazon has horrid conditions for their warehouse workers. They refuse to change the situation because it saves them money to not change the situation. They'd rather have an ambulance parked outside of a warehouse facility so they can just take somebody away in an ambulance when they collapse from heat exhaustion. They'd rather do that than have proper air conditioning. They're creating a dystopian Orwellian place to work. They get an F rating from the environment. Their environmental rating is an F. They get an F. So with everything going on with climate change, one of the biggest companies in the world who is monopolizing the world just about gets an F rating and they don't care. And they work with ICE and they're doing stuff with facial recognition and they have deals with the CIA and they're next to the Pentagon. This is a real life supervillain scenario. It really is. And they're trying to marginalize all this, but the workers are finally demanding what is theirs. Workers are demanding what is theirs. And of course, the media is trying to marginalize it because that's what you have to do to any social movement. You have to marginalize it. You have to trivialize it and pretend like it's not significant. And that's what they that's what they did with the teacher strikes. And that was by design and that was on purpose. That's what they did with the teacher strikes. That's what they're going to do with Amazon strikes. That's what they're going to do with any other strikes that happen. That's what they do. That's what they have to do. Because the corporate media likes the status quo. Anything that threatens the status quo, they want to try to ignore it. They want to try to marginalize it. If the teacher strikes were covered properly, if MSNBC and CNN and Fox News, if they actually covered the teacher strike, if they covered it an eighth as much as they do whenever Trump tweets something outrageous, whenever there's Rachel Maddow wants to pontificate about Russia, whenever, whatever, you get the idea. If they covered it an eighth as much as all that stuff, there would have been teacher strikes in every state in the country. Because every state in the country would have seen, oh, wait, this works. We're doing it. But the people that really run this country, the plutocracy, oil and gas, the big banks, Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, they don't want that to happen. They don't want the donor class. They don't want that to happen. And they run the media too. The donors and special interests run the media because they advertise with it, so they buy coverage, essentially. So they don't want you to hear about that. That's why there weren't teacher strikes in every state in the country. That's why there's not a huge general strike right now. Because if they really amplified this stuff and they really, but you know, to hear about this type of stuff, you have to go to shows like this. You have to go to shows like this to hear about strikes and to hear about protests. You have to go to shows run by a comedian in his fucking living room. A comedian talking about the news in his living room. Those are the types of shows you have to go to really hear about strikes and protests. You have to go to independent media. Because the corporate media doesn't want to amplify that stuff.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and